Hey, welcome back to 3Bs on a Mission. We're just three women speaking our unfiltered truths and divine feminine wisdom. We're going to do a quick vibe check for today. Dolly.
Mine is tattoos.
And what does it say on the back?
I love this.
Not for just sailors and whores anymore.
Okay,
Dolly,
so
I love that. I want that. Listen, I would rock that shit.
Grown with my crows.
Oh my God.
There we
Here we
go.
go.
Got
With
all
the
my
crows.
crows,
So
and
good.
that's my vibe.
the
Fuck
crows.
off!
Fuck
So
off.
Mhm.
Oh my God.
And it's so funny that it's
I feel
crow
like so
on the
lame
shirt
over here.
saying
Like I don't
fuck
have
off.
anything.
While it's beating me in the head.
Listen, I love that. Yeah. No joke. Oh,
All right. So, what's your vibe today?
well, I'm not as cool as you guys, obviously. I wish I would have.
It's really
I wish
hard
I
to
would have
use
known. I
all
would have
those.
wear something cool. Yeah. So I had a pretty stressful morning, but so I guess my vibe was stressful. Although I am feeling more peace now that we're sitting here and starting to do this. Maybe I'll find my zen as we're recording and doing what I was thinking. But it was kind of stressful. But the good news is that I was outside all morning and it was beautiful. It's like a beautiful, perfect fall day. Is it sunny where you guys are?
Yeah.
I walked, dude. It was beautiful out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the perfect fall day. It's just I was outside doing things I didn't want to do, and of course, there's a lesson involved in all of it. So, and I was like,
Do you
I
love
don't
the
know.
spiritual journey yet? Do you
I-
love it with the daily lessons? You're like,
yeah. I mean, this one was crushing. You know, this
soul
one was
crushing?
tough.
Cool.
Yeah, and it actually is going to segue into the next thing we're going to talk about, which is so I figured we would check in on stories of gifts unlocking. So, G, I know that. Well, first of all, G, I want to mention like, hey, you got new glasses on this week. You switched it up.
Wow.
You're gonna switch it up on us?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's each week I've
Okay,
actually
dragon.
had a different pair on because that's how I roll. It's we gotta keep it spicy somehow. Got the Oakleys
So you're
today.
rocking. Oh, you got the Okies. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. Yeah, and I was just looking, I was like, oh, I'm drinking my coffee out of like, I don't know if you can see my mug. Like, my mug is so beat up. But this is the problem. It's like when you're an artist and you bring things to your art studio, you get
Yep.
paint on all your shit. But I don't care because I love it. I love the slimness of this mug. So anyway, so sorry that my mug it's not dirty. I promise you, it's just really paint stained. Some
Dirty.
of mine are just
Dirty B. She's got
I've just
the
got
Yep. And
Okay,
of course,
okay.
me. I've always got the
yeah, I
Dunkin'.
know.
So
You're always running. I
mm,
get you. Okay, well, let's talk about stories of gifts unlocking because, G, I think you have another one that's unlocking this week.
perfect. Yeah. So
And then I'll share mine as well.
yeah. So mine is definitely clairaudience. That
Mhm.
was just amazing. So my daily is just I love music and
Same, all the
I
time, every day.
literally don't even ask for an artist to play. I just, if I'm at the house, I just am like, hey, Alexa, play music. And it's whatever she's playing. And in every song that came up, it was literally message after message after message out of each
Yes.
song.
Yeah.
And then I had to go to the post office and I get in my car and completely different. Obviously, this isn't anything Alexa, nothing, whatever, completely different. And it starts playing the same songs in my car. So,
So wild,
again,
right?
I got the message, heavy on the
Did you-
messages.
Do you write those songs down or like what do you do with them? You just
Mm-mm.
let them roll or do you like make notes of them?
Mental notes. I see.
Okay.
I can't. A lot of them have to do with like telepathy type things. Different individuals try to speak to me.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm familiar.
I hear you. I freaking hear you. Okay.
I hear it.
And it was funny because on the way back from the post office, I was like telling you I had what was it that I had? I had pregame. I had rap pregame station. Okay, I had Pandora playing.
Okay.
Like music that should not have been coming up on this station was absolutely coming up on this station. So
It
I
doesn't
told
fit
you.
the
I told
the
you, man.
genre at all.
Music is otherworldly until you start paying attention to it. Boy, there's so many messages that come through. Sometimes I'm
So
so
cute.
overwhelmed. We talked about this last week. Like, I adore music. I've always adored music. I know you guys are the same. That is how,
Mhm.
that is how I process, alchemize, all my things. There's always, always, always music, playing either in my environment or in my head, one of the two. With this, sometimes now this journey, you know, it can be so intense that I'll just be like, I can't, like, I gotta shut this off. Like, I can't feel all of this right now, all the time.
Or have you had yet where it's playing in your head and you haven't heard it, and then you get in the car and that song is playing?
I have not had that happen.
Good
I
luck.
have,
I hold my
yeah.
beer because
Yes, I don't. Okay, so clairaudient, for anybody who doesn't know what that is, you start to hear things. You're actually hearing audible things. I think it's interesting. One of the things you didn't mention was you started to hear music playing this week when there was no music playing. And then
Yep.
the song would then show up playing on
Yep.
your playlist out of
Yep.
nowhere.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that part. Yeah, I kept thinking my son was playing something downstairs. I was upstairs working, and it was
Yep.
faint. It sounded like the neighbor was playing it, or like he was downstairs in, like, the laundry room or something. Like, it was far enough, or in one of the garages. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
was far enough away where it wasn't exactly audible, but I could hear the music playing. So I literally stopped, went downstairs,
I
and
love this.
yeah, stop, drop, and roll. I should have.
I love this.
I went I went downstairs and I looked through. Okay, number 1, my son was still gone. He wasn't even home. Nobody was home. It was just me and the dogs, and clearly they're not playing anything. So I literally went through every inch of the house, like, and it wasn't getting louder the closer I got to anything. And so then I went outside and I'm like, maybe it's the neighbors. Like, they're definitely playing this song. No, it wasn't. So yeah. Then within, I don't know, within the hour, that song actually started playing on a commercial on the TV
Stop.
because he came home and started
Yep.
watching TV, and that song came up on the commercial. And I
Yep.
was like, wait,
Yep.
what,
oh
bro?
no.
Yep.
Yeah, so
So
that part.
so you've got two things that are happening for you that are going to continue to strengthen. One was getting hit in the head by the crows to let
Mm.
you know that your intuition is awakening, and now you have clairaudient gifts.
Oh,
Of all the
we're not
clairs,
gonna forget about the what is the light flickering thing? What is this?
I-
What is
listen, I told you what that is, but we're not ready to go there yet. You're
okay.
studying what that is.
Yeah. Mhm.
That
I mean, I know what it is. I just don't know what to
yeah.
call that
Well,
besides rein your energy in, bitch, because
yeah, it's yeah.
you're
We'll
X-Men right
dive into
now? I don't
that
know.
when we have learned more about that, but that one's a big that one's a big one.
Perfect.
Yo, I don't have that at all. But anyways, so of all the clairs, right? So I think there's like 4 clairs, right? So there's clairaudient, which means that you can hear things. There's clairvoyant, which is the one that most people are familiar with, is like you can see things, like you get visions, you get downloads, like
You see
that
dead
is
people.
you might. I mean, you might. I don't know. I think that's more medium type of thing. Thank God I don't have that gift. I really don't want that gift. I always say, like, to the divine, please don't give me that gift. I don't have any
You don't wanna
desire.
see grandma
Like,
popping up in your
no,
bedroom at night
no,
or
I don't.
nothing?
Like, I
Alright.
get okay. So it's taken me a minute to understand my giftings. Yeah, so obviously I have intuition, just like you. That gets stronger, and I think the stronger that gets, like, that's why it's stepping into this clairvoyant space, because then I can start to see visions. I've started to share, like, now I'll see visions in, like, my mind's eye. I think that's the next evolution of it. And you'll start to have that happen if you haven't had that happen yet. It's real fun. They'll start taking you out to fields apparently. So, but like, yeah, so that's clairvoyance. That's happening for me, but it's really inconsistent. It's not like I can, it's just whenever it happens. I don't know. And then I have 2 other clairs that I didn't realize were a thing until recently. I have claircognizance, which is you just know. I know things that I shouldn't know. I don't know how I know them, and I just write them down, and it for a while now, I just think like, "Oh my god, I'm just crazy. Why would I know this? How would I know things like this?" And I tell some of these things to you guys, but the
Yep.
reason I do say things to you guys about things that I start to know that are I mean, I've told you guys some stuff that's out there, right? I
Mhm.
just know and, like, it's out there, but the reason I'm
Mhm.
telling you is
Well,
because, like, I
saying
want
it to me is that's reckless.
but,
That's
like
amazing. Like
but, I want
it's out
there to
there.
be but I want there to be some witness to it at some point to be
Mhm.
like, "Yo, you told us this." Because some of this stuff is like and usually I start with like, "This is gonna sound
This
out
sound
there.
crazy.
This is gonna sound
Mhm.
crazy, but
Nope.
here's what I'm telling you." And, like and it's just like,
Yep.
I just know, like and every time I try to tell myself, "No, you don't know that. That's not a thing. You're making that up. You're dreaming." It's like, "No, I think I really do know this thing or that thing or whatever." I'm learning that. And then the other one is clairsentient. And this is one that I've had all my life. I just didn't have a word to put to it. You sense energy before anybody even opens their mouth. I can walk into a room. I don't know if either one of you have this or not. You
That's
do?
where I started. That's where I
Okay.
yeah, that's
Tali, does this happen to you? Like, do you walk into a room and like you can read the energy of the room before anybody ever speaks a word? Yeah. I
100%.
feel like that's something that happens for you. Do you also have clear cognizance? Do you like have
Now,
knowing of
which one is
things
that?
yet? That's like a kind of knowing. Okay.
Okay.
But I do see, Tali, that you do have clear sentient, which is
yep.
you walk into a room, nobody has to say shit, and you can
Mhm.
read the energy before you're even there. Like, and
And
you'll
listen, I have
know.
left places.
Yep.
I've left
Exactly.
places. I do not, if I don't feel
Exactly.
it, if I don't like it, bye.
See, but that's my
Exactly.
problem because that was so strong with me to begin with. That's when I became the hermit because I'm like because it was
Yeah.
always the fucked up energies that would come at me. Like I
Yeah.
promise you. Like they're like, "Oh my
Well,
god, and it's the most beautiful person and all that," and they would come at me. So, but
mm,
the darkness
it's not on
inside,
the
I just was
outside.
like, "You know what?
It's not on
I'm
the
just
outside. It's the
gonna
energy.
yeah, I'm just gonna
So the more
not."
wild thing for me is that I don't even have to be in anybody's presence. I don't even have to
Mhm.
be in the room. Like I don't have to have a physical presence to know somebody's energy. This is the wild part. I don't even know how or why or like I can read somebody's energy online. I can read
Mhm.
their energy over the phone. I can read it
Mhm.
through text. Like I can
Yep.
feel all of that. And it's always just been this weird thing for me. I never felt like judgy, but like, and I was like, I can read it. You don't even have to be physically in the room with me, and I can read your energy. It's bizarre. I'm starting to understand that. And like I talked about my morning being really frustrating. With
Yep.
this clear, cognizant gift, there are some things that I just know or that I think that I know that I mean, that they'll show me and, like, I'll just know, and, like, it's not even a vision, it's just a knowing. They put a knowing in me, and it's like, I just know some things, and I'm like, "I don't this is a lot," and so and
Mhm.
I've been holding some things for a while, and I'm just like, the longer you have to know and hold things, the harder it is because you're like, am I making this
Mm-mm.
stuff up? Like, where is this stuff if you're telling me about it?
Anything about that.
Yeah. Well, so we'll go
Okay.
into that. I mean, that's another whole like I just need to sit with what happened to me this morning and make sense of it because I do feel it's something that we will share, but it's not today. I don't think I could talk about it and not be all over the place. But oh, and the other thing that I will say, so Tali, we know that you're an empath. Now you know like you are clairsentient, like you have that same energy. And it makes sense because if you're an empath, you're probably clairsentient because you can read the energy in a room and then you can feel into people's emotions. You have a way of knowing. I know that I'm empathic as well, but here's the thing that I've learned about that. Of course there's something something else.
It's not the best thing.
No,
Mhm.
it's not. It's so hard to be an empath. Let me just tell you. Like your heart
Oh,
gets
yeah.
broken so much in life.
You
Okay.
need to you need to learn how to transmute that energy. Energy is just energy, bro. Like
Yeah, I
that's
listen. I know.
you
And
gotta
I
shift
am.
that energy around. Like, okay, cool. That's what you're coming at me with. I'm gonna
Yeah.
take that and I'm gonna propel off of that because
Yeah.
watch this, bitch.
Okay, so here's the even tougher thing. So there's different levels of empath. Who knew? I didn't know. There's something that I just learned recently, which I am apparently is a super empath. I'm like, okay, first of all, I get all these gifts, right? And I'm looking at you, G, because I know some of the ones that are coming for you, and I'm like, my God, that's badass. That is awesome, you know. And I'm sitting here like I get all the like
It
Snow
does not
White
feel
gifts.
awesome. It does right.
But I'm just saying,
Right.
like, couldn't I get
Right.
something really cool and mystical and like something kind
No,
of, I don't know.
you don't want.
You
No.
know, no, I get all the Snow White ones, right?
Mm-mm.
Like healing, loving people, feeling their
Mm-mm.
emotions, sensing their energy,
Few.
helping to transmute. Like the Snow White gifts, I call them jokingly. I'm like, God, couldn't I get something cool? Anyways, so I find out that I'm the super empath. I was like, cool, finally, I got something that's cool and mystical, right? No,
Not what that means.
no. What
Not
this
what that
means,
means at
and
all.
apparently the super empath actually walks it's one of the hardest soul path gifts going. Thank God I signed up for that. I don't
Mhm.
know how I did. But okay, this is the
Mhm.
difference. The super empath, and this explains so much that has happened to me in my life. It doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt because it's hurt like a bitch my whole life. And I've always thought there was something wrong with me. But now I'm realizing it's not. The super empath, the best way to explain it is apparently I am somehow drawn to people when they are in some of their really dark shadow places. They are living in their shadows. They are out front. They are living and moving in their shadows. These are people that are living in a wounded space. They are just like they're out there with their woundings. Most of them are masked very well. You can't really tell. Apparently, I can. Apparently, these are the people that I cross paths with. And think of it like this. I'm like this, like little light, like person, like going into this is the scene that I get, like a dark alley, or the way I like to explain it is like going into the woods. You know how dark it is in the woods at nighttime, like living out here in the woods. I can tell you how dark it is. And I'm going out there with this flashlight. I'm going through the woods on this path with my little flashlight. Excuse me. And I come across like a bear, let's say a bear in a trap, right? Most people would run and be like, shit, that's a bear in a trap. I better not go there. No, no, no. No, the super empath goes,
She's like, let me try and
my
beat it.
God. Oh
Beat
my,
it. No.
No, the thing off of it, not
Oh.
the bear. Oh my goodness.
Beat
He's
the
like,
bear.
she's
Beat the
just beating the
trap with
bear.
the flashlight, girl. Get it. Put some elbow grease into it.
Yeah, well, that's not what I
My
do.
God.
Apparently,
See?
I have all this empathy for this bear. Okay, this wounded bear who's caught in this trap, and I have my light going through the darkness, and I find this like this wounded bear, and I go over to the bear, and I'm like, "Oh my God, you're hurt. Let me help you." Okay, and I go and I like get the bear released from the trap, and one of two things happens. Okay. This has happened my entire life, by the way. The bears, the wolves, and they're never like cute little, like, I don't know, rabbits or something caught in a trap. No, 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 no. They are like,
Big
they are
fucking bear.
literally people that could do some damage to you, okay? I go over, I free the bear. I'm like, oh my gosh, let me help you. Let me show you love and empathy and just unconditional love and kindness and, whatever. And you release the bear and they turn and they look at you and they do one of two things. They
Eat
either
you.
maul the shit out of you, right? Because they mistake your kindness for something like, I don't know, sinister, like I want something from them, or
They want
whatever.
to know your agenda.
Exactly. They don't trust the unconditional love and care that you just brought to them, that just was like, listen, I just wanted to show you kindness. I just was trying to show you love because I sensed that you needed help and that you needed this. This is something that your soul, your energy is reaching out to me, telling you, which is why I'm in your path, that I'm telling you, like, hey, I can't tell you how many times that I have said things just out of kindness to people like this, and they have turned on me and snapped
Mhm.
and like ripped my throat out. And I'd be like, what the fuck just happened? And I've spent my entire life going, there's something wrong with me. There is something freaking wrong with me. I don't know if it's the way I deliver a message or I say something. And so then I have to spend all this time like explaining, I didn't want anything. I didn't mean anything. Like, what? Okay, so that's option one. Or the second option is you free this bear, they literally look at you, flip you off, and ghost you immediately. No, nothing. Okay? Nothing. And you're like, what the fuck just happened? What just happened? I'm telling you, that has happened to me. I can't even, if I tried to start a list of like how many people, how many times. And after a while, if you don't understand that you have this gift, listen, I'm sharing this for somebody. Somebody is sitting out there right now going, oh my God, that happens to me all the time. And no matter how many times I've been mauled, flipped off, ghosted, whatever, I still keep going out into the woods with my little light trying to help these wounded animals that could tear the shit out of me. Never sending me rabbits or, something cute. No,
Fuzzy
no,
little cute.
no. It's
See,
it's like
but
coyotes,
she goes
wolves.
out and she goes out and finds these like the wounded, and she tries to help. Where meanwhile, then after they flip her off, they like come into my energy, and
Yep.
they're like, "Hey, oh my God!" and they like want to suck on my energy and become another gutter monkey. Like that's what I get. I get the
I don't get that.
attachments. I get
Nope.
the parasites. I get the ones that won't frickin' leave.
Nope.
Just leave.
Nope.
I don't want to
Nope.
help you anymore. Like,
nope.
you're sucking up all my good energy.
And let me just tell you what's wrong with the world. That people mistake kindness for like
weakness?
or not even weakness. Like they think that you want something. Like they think that you've got an agenda. That's why they come at you like that. And so, okay. All right. So here's the blessing in it. I don't mean to complain about it, but like, can you imagine the amount of wounding that I have? And like, this is just until recently, this has been happening to me. And I finally know now, like, I finally understand what this is. And so now part of my healing has been understanding that this is a gift that I have. Thank goodness. Super empath, going to the really scary, dark places with people who are severely wounded. They are living in their shadows. They are all these things. But now when it happens, because it'll continue to happen, like people will ghost me, they'll maul me, turn around and like accuse me of stuff. I'm like, I've even been accused of stuff. I've been like, how did you just accuse me of something that I never even did? Are you kidding me? All I said to you was kind things, and you're calling me manipulative and I'm a bitch and whatever. And it's like, it's their projections onto you. It's like they are telling you what they think of themselves. Now that I understand all of this, it's going to be easier to move in this way because I'll know now it's not me. Whatever's coming at me is about them. But until you understand that, boy, it's a bitch to have that gift all your life. And you're like,
you know what? I got 2 words for it. Let them.
hey, yeah,
Miss
well,
Mel Robbins.
now I know.
Just let them.
Listen, hey, I
Let
know.
them. Let them think you're a bitch. Let them think you're delusional. Let them think whatever. Let them.
Well, listen, I'm not fighting it anymore. I just needed to understand there wasn't something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. Part of my healing was facing that shadow in myself to say, I've been misunderstood my entire life. Because literally, I've been misunderstood. I come to you, I see that you need help, I offer you some kindness. I just offer people kindness because it's just part of who I am. I try to make the world a better place, right? I try to say, hey, Tali, I know you do this too. You go above and beyond to be, you know what? I want to tell you, you're doing a really great job, or you're such a beautiful person, or I've heard you do this.
I walked in tonight and this girl's got like, mad chapsticks and Kleenexes and all of this.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, it's for a friend
She's the
that,
same.
is ill and we're collecting things for him.
Yes. See, it's
that's
like
her.
that.
Like all day long.
I know. She's an empath.
Sometimes.
She's an empath.
All the time.
Yeah. So, Tali, I know that this is you. I know you have the same empathic thing. I don't think, do people attack you like that?
I think a lot of people take advantage of,
100%.
like, because they know. I mean, I think in a lot of situations they try to. I lost my job. Oh, I don't get paid.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't do. So it's all this stuff, and I don't know where they get the idea that I am made of money, which is false.
But you know what? Okay, wait. Actually, I want to spin off of that because I've had some of my exes that I've literally asked them, like, you just sat around and you took from me. Like, and then you would assume that, you'd always ask for more. Like it was never good enough. And, you wanted more. And I was like, where did you ever become? Because number one, I never talk about finances with anybody, not even people like, you don't know how much I do or don't have, but
None of your
Mhm.
business.
right. But anyway, I would say, like, why would you assume? And you know what? I figured out, and they were like, I just always thought you had it. You know what I figured out? It isn't because we physically have it. It is the abundance within us. It's what's
Yep.
within us that makes it look like we got it like that's why.
Mhm.
Sure,
So
sure.
what people are seeing in you is internally you are abundant. So they're
Yes.
like, this bitch got all kind of money.
Yep.
Sure. I get, yeah.
That's literally what it is, Tolly.
Mhm.
100%. 100%. It's the way you
Yeah,
carry
when you're
yourself. It's the way, like, you don't know if I'm broke as a joke or if I got
Right.
1 million in the bank. Like, I
That's
am what
right.
I
You
am
like that
because
mystery.
oh, yeah,
I'm gonna tell you
100%.
right now, though. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you something that's coming. And I've been
Oh,
telling you guys this. When you live abundantly, when you have abundance within, as within, so is without. I'm telling you right now that abundance is something that you're attracting. And so it'll come in many different ways for you. If it already hasn't started, it will.
oh,
As
you
within,
already
so
know it
without.
started for me.
Yeah.
I'd have
As
no
within, so
damn
without.
where.
Mm-hmm. It will. It'll start coming. Okay, so that was long intro. Again, okay, so here's the thing. When we started this podcast, we had an idea of like a structure that we were gonna do, segments, whatever. Okay, yeah, the divine is just like taking over now. So last week we were like, okay, I had to share this message about detached love that I wasn't super comfortable with because it's just something that I'm going through, right? And this week is very similar. So apparently we're just gonna roll like this now. We're gonna do a come up. There's a very strong gum up message this week. And for whatever reason, apparently the divine likes gutter monkey energy. So we're keeping that. We're going to just roll like that for now. I'm telling you, if people think that the divine doesn't have a sense of humor, they are mistaken. Where do you think that comes from? Bro, I'm telling you,
Legit.
the stuff
Legit.
that they say to me, I'm like, okay, all right.
Yep.
And for a while, I'm like, well, I'm funny, so maybe I'm just making it up in my head. No, I'm not. I don't think I am. This is the stuff that comes from them. Our come up this week, again, man, they're challenging me. I feel you guys are going to be challenged too with this. They're challenging me with this message because this is something that is very, it like, I'm a very calm person, but there are certain like hot buttons and triggers for me that just get me like, I start to lose my shit. Like I can't like I'm so passionate about some things. The message this week is erasing the divine feminine from history. And when I say divine feminine, like we've talked about, it's not gender specific. This divine feminine is going to be gender specific. So we're talking about divine feminines who are women, okay? This week. This is why see, I've already got a tone
Riled up. Riled up. Don't get me
about
riled
women.
up
Okay,
because
about
we'll
women.
cut off.
I need you to stay calm. Tolly, you got to keep her
Right.
calm. Maybe rub
Just
like
think
pet
unicorn thoughts and
pet
yeah,
Mr.
I'll
B,
pet
I'll let
Mr.
her pet
B.
Mr.
whatever.
B.
Pet
Right,
Mr.
and you
B.
can't see
Okay.
Mr. B on the camera, so it looks like I'm just
We're
petting her breastal areas. Okay.
That tends to be like white and fluffy. It's weird.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
That's whatever. I don't know. Listen, you do you.
okay, go ahead.
But
Makes me
so
feel good, so
we're gonna give people an option to like X out of your screen if
exit stage
listen.
left.
This is going to be one of those messages that may trigger you if you feel some sort of way about what we're going to talk about with women. This is your warning. Like if you roll with us from here, you're in for it because here I'm saying like this week I'm like, oh, God, really? Do you really want me to go here with this? Is like yes, and I was like, okay, I'm going to try to do it as calmly as I can. Maybe that's not the point. Maybe the point is like I told you and this will come up again. Last week, remember we talked about that they have been showing me this is the start of the era of the divine feminine. We obviously play a role in that. I just want to let you know, like if you haven't figured that out, we do. And maybe some of the people that are watching this and are with us now, 5 podcasts in, they're like, I'm vibing with these guys. I'm about this. Then guess what? This is probably your signaling too that you're going to be part of this. There is a movement that's coming. Okay. I call it a movement. I'm not going to, you're going to hear me say some things that are like, I'm not calling it a rebellion. I'm not calling it a revolution. And there's a reason for that because it is a movement. And the divine is telling me very specifically, it is a movement. And I want you to speak about it in a very specific way. I was like, okay, you're the boss. So here's your warning. And here we go. Okay, so erasing the divine feminine. And specifically, like I said, we're talking about to the collective of people who identify as a divine feminine, but they're also a woman. Okay. Because this is really about women's issues. I'm going to start with this little thing, all right, and then we'll get into it. Once upon a time, God was both divine feminine and divine masculine. The creator wasn't a man in the sky, but a balance of energies, a dance of light and shadow, and womb and seed, wisdom and word. But then came the rewriting, the redacting, the reshaping of God into he. The sacred feminine, she who birthed worlds, became the villain in her own story. Asherah, as we're going to talk about, was erased. Eve was blamed. Mary Magdalene was defamed. Power rewritten as sin. Intuition renamed rebellion. The divine womb was turned into shame, and the same spirit of suppression echoes through the times into our laws, in our pulpits, in our paychecks, and in the way that a woman's body is still treated like public property. But here's the truth they couldn't kill. The divine feminine never left. She lives in our rage and in our radiance, in our tears and in our tenderness, in every woman who remembers who she is, and we are her return. Y'all feel that?
Mm-hmm.
That's
You
the
know I feel it.
energy that they have tried to bury. That's centuries of divine rage awakening. When you silence half of creation, the world falls out of balance. And that's what we are experiencing now in our world. I don't care what you resonate with. If you are living your everyday life and you don't have a heart, a feeling, an anger, a disgust of name an issue. There are so many problems right now in the world. I mean, it's so overwhelming for me, especially as an empath, that I can only take certain news and segments. I can't watch the news. And so the other thing is I'm not getting into politics. I don't give a shit about any of that. And here's why. Is because I focus on the highest source and the highest, creator that I trust has a plan and has that shit under control. You're not going to hear me talk about like any of that because to me, it's like, why would I deal with that when I can deal with a higher power than this? And it's not to say like I don't see what's happening. I do, but I can't. The way that I feel that I can affect that is by
Bless you.
doing, staying connected with a source that's much higher than any of that. That's the way that I deal with it. People deal with it differently. I'm just telling you, me personally, you're not going to hear me go there. So look at, I'm already getting nuts. But okay, so here's the thing is like when you erase half of the energy of the world or you try to suppress it or you try to lie on it, the world falls out of balance. That's why we have all of these issues that are happening across centuries and
Yep.
they're in our everyday life and it sucks. And the things that are happening to people, they are so deplorable. Like it's disgusting. And it's because of this. This stuff has been bubbling up for centuries. So, but here's the good news is that this movement that's coming, right? And that's not even coming, it's here. We are here literally to help restore the balance in the world. One truth, one story, one remembrance at a time. Today, this is our come up. We are going to talk about how patriarchy tried to erase the divine feminine and how we're rewriting her back into the story. And this isn't just us. There are divine feminines that are being called across the world right now that are getting the same message, that are rising in different ways. So we're just a small little sliver of it. But I'm going to tell you right now, this thing is growing. I tell you guys all the time. Like I have seen the vision of this and it is enormous. It is enormous. And I am so glad to even
It
have
shows
a
up every
part in
day
it.
it shows up every
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah, and
Especially
it's
if
going to
we're on any
continue.
kind of social, it's in the
It's happening. It's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening. Let's just give a little bit of background to like why I'm nuts, I guess, about stuff and whatever. For centuries, the divine feminine has been written out, rebranded, or silenced from sacred texts that shape civilizations to our modern day systems that still decide women's worth. And what was once revered as holy, the things that were seen as holy from a divine feminine perspective was intuition, creation, emotions, sensuality. These are all things that we've talked about in earlier podcasts,
Yeah.
right? And wisdom. But
Mhm.
instead, the narratives changed and they were labeled as dangerous, sinful, weak. But the truth of all of the things that define the divine feminine have never disappeared. It just simply waits to be remembered in each of us. This week, we're dedicating this to reclaiming her. We're talking about how patriarchy in biblical history erased the divine feminine, and how that erasure has now shaped our modern power structures, and how that same spirit shows up today in the continued fight for women's autonomy, their voice, and their rights. This is remembering what was taken and healing what was silenced and stepping back into the power that was always ours as divine feminines. Because when women start to understand this and they rise, truth rises, and then the balance starts to happen across the world. And that's the vision for what's going to happen with this era of the divine feminine.
Imagine when women actually start using all of their gifts and their
Oh,
intuition and all of that. Like, watch this
I
reshape.
remember when I said, listen, intuition. And remember, I told you that specific message that we covered about the sacral chakra, because
Yeah.
that is the birth of creativity and intuition and
I'm just waiting to be let off my
sensuality.
leash. Like, that's
Hey,
that's what
that'll
I'm waiting
happen.
for.
That'll happen at some point.
Let me off
God
my
help
leash
us all when that does.
just for a little bit.
The world ain't ready for that yet. That'll be a little bit later. Okay. So you got to be on the
Alright.
leash for right now.
Alright.
Okay, so before patriarchy took hold, ancient spiritual systems honored both a divine masculine and a divine feminine energy. Okay, so but you never learned that in any,
Bible
well,
study?
yeah, in any of your Bible classes.
Who?
And so, like goddesses like Asherah, Isis, Sophia, as soon as you bring up any of these women, these women's names, they're like, oh no, those are all evil. Nope, nope, these are
Horse.
evil. Yeah, or like whatever. I'm
I love
telling you,
horse.
it's not.
She loves horse.
Yep,
Listen, I have
perfect.
a shirt that says
Yep.
Jesus loves all sluts.
Perfect.
Perfect.
I have
Yay.
it.
You should rock that. I love it.
Yep, I'm gonna.
Mhm.
Okay, but so anyways,
Yeah,
these
it's because
goddesses
Jesus
represented.
wasn't sitting but wait a minute.
Jesus hung out with all the cool kids.
Exactly.
Well, you're about to
Exactly.
know about some stuff.
He wasn't chilling in the pulpit. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. We're just,
So Asherah, Isis,
Mhm.
Sophia, they represented fertility, wisdom, love, and cosmic order. In early Hebrew texts, I'm not sitting here as like uh, um, a theologian or a religious scholar. Although I will say, to my credit, I spent like 20 years studying
Yeah.
Bible, scriptures, whatever. So like I will go head to head, toe to toe with most people. My favorite is when they cherry pick the 4 verses out of the Bible to try to condemn homosexuality. Whoa, that is a hot button for me. I will go in. Like listen, I can't because it's all taken out of context. That will be a separate come up because I got a whole lot to say about that, as you can imagine. But anyway, so in early Hebrew texts, Asherah was even referred to as God Yahweh in Hebrew. It's a Yahweh's consort. She was the feminine aspect of God. And if you think about it, okay, why wouldn't there be a feminine aspect of God? Why would it, like, if we are all divine masculine, divine feminine energy, like you've been taught that it's a male that is doing all of this, right? But there was Asherah. There was a female aspect of God. But patriarchal societies rose and those stories were rewritten. The feminine was separated from the divine and God became exclusively male. There was a specific rewriting of that to create God as male. So that's what happened. So
I love
so
me some
Asherah,
control.
I love it. So Asherah, let's talk about Asherah. Asherah was the ancient Canaanite mother goddess known as the Queen of Heaven, the feminine aspect of divinity associated with fertility, creation, and nurturing. She appears in early Hebrew scriptures as Yahweh's consort, symbolizing the balance of masculine and feminine energies in creation. In the earliest versions of Israelite religion, Yahweh and Asherah were worshipped together, side by side, in household shrines and in temples. They were seen and worshipped like this. And archaeological digs at the sites that are in like the Sinai desert, they've uncovered inscriptions that say Yahweh and his Asherah. So this was a thing until it wasn't. These findings prove that the worship of a divine couple was once a norm before it was erased. And so the feminine face of God wasn't missing, it was removed. And so we grew up learning, no, God is a man. And yeah, there is no feminine, like whatever. There's none of that. Hold on. Sorry. Okay, I have to talk about something. Ugh, okay. All right. So they want me to talk about the divine couple. Hold on. All right. So here's what I'm hearing. Boy. All right. So what I'm hearing is God is calling and raising up divine relationships. And what they're saying is that there is going to be a rise in these divine counterpart relationships. Here's what I'm hearing. These relationships are being called for this restoring of balance in the world because the divine couple of Yahweh and Asherah was once this beautiful norm in the world that people understood and recognized and embodied in their relationships. Somebody moves as a divine feminine, somebody moves as a divine masculine. This is not gender, okay? But there was this pairing, and what they're saying is that they are going to use those pairings to help restore balance to the world because the relationships that exist in the world today have become distorted. And so they're raising these up. Yep, they're raising these up, and these will not look like anything. Okay, that these relationships are going to challenge all societal norms.
Yep.
Here's what they mean. If you are in a divine counterpart relationship, or you're coming into one, or you're on a journey toward one, you will know that it is because you will check one of several boxes. Society has defined what is acceptable in of relationships, partnerships, but God does not care about that. He cares about heart and spirit and that connection. So he's going to raise these folks up, and they aren't going to look like anything that you would pair together. They have cultural differences. There is religious differences. A lot of them have age gaps. There'll be geographic distances, and they will not be all heterosexual. These are not all heterosexual couples. They are going to have all kinds of sexuality, and that is on purpose. And it's to help restore balance in the world because there will be no denying that these relationships move different. They love different.
God
the whole
GPS,
collection
or whatever, Google. Meanwhile,
Yeah, I
I'm
don't.
over here like songs are playing in my head. So cool. Okay, sorry.
Hey, listen, I take the music, baby. I'm just telling you what's coming through. Because as I said, divine couple, they're like, hold on, we want to talk about this. So these relationships will be used in the world to help heal this distorted view of love and relationship that exists today because of some of the systems being out of balance and out of order. But these divine counterparts are going to be called to help heal and to help show a different love and different way that God has intended. And then there's, a subset of those couples are going to be put in the spotlight to start to be like the people that are put out front to be highlighted in this way. Oh yeah, and the world is not going to love it.
Fun.
The world is not going to love this.
No.
But they wanted me to say that because divine coupling was erased. It was erased. And there's something to be really learned in that. And there's something that's really healing in that for the world and to bring balance and to bring balance, they said, back into relationships again, into the world. Okay. Anyways, anything else? No, we said I'm good. You're good.
Wow.
You're good. Okay. So sorry guys, that just happened.
No, you're good.
I love it.
You're good. We're just here for it at this point. Chips.
But yeah, that's going to shake some stuff up. But Hold on, there's another thing.
Perfect. Love it. Oh, there more. There's
Okay,
more.
so
I
here's the
just
other
really need
thing.
chapstick now.
Here's the other thing that I will share that they just showed me is that if you do find yourself in one of these divine counterparts, and we talk about this all the time, right? We're sharing our experiences and things. If you're in a divine counterpart journey, they're saying to me, it's really important that you find other people that understand those things, because if you ask people who are well intended in your life, like your family, your friends, your community, your whatever, and you start
Mm-hmm.
telling them about this stuff, they're
Okay.
not going to understand it.
Okay. And
I'm
let
just
me let
just
me
hearing.
let me chime in here. Right. Right. Because literally that was me for 2 years going, rolling.
Yep.
So I just don't say anything at all ever. But I will tell you this, the divine will work in such a way where it is undeniable, because Dominica
Yep.
will tell you that when we were in Florida, all of the sequence of events that were happening, my little
Oh
will tell
yeah.
you. Like everybody will tell, it is so in your face. It's not delusional because it follows you around. Like, so I would
Yeah.
love for anybody to test my gangster on that one.
Yeah. Well, no, and so here's what I wanna say, because I think them saying that to me is our cue to say, if you think that you're on one of these and you feel nuts or whatever, like, "Hey, comment to us. We understand. We understand we
Oh,
understand
yeah.
what you experience. We understand what
Mhm.
that looks like. We know what it is. You're not crazy." If you feel this, like, in your intuition and there's all these signs and there's things that are happening and you'll have feelings and you'll have attachments and all this stuff, like,
You'll
it's
be woken
like
up.
you're not making this up. Apparently, this is part of the divine's plan of restoring balance. They want balance between these divine masculine and divine feminine energies. Also, the coupling, like I said, the coupling is going to look like nothing that society would say, oh, yeah, that's acceptable. That's cool. There will be men and women that, will be part of this as well. But it's not just that. It's going to be women and women, men and men, trans people. It will be across the board. Obviously, these will all be like consenting adults. God's not going to put anything like cringy
Yeah.
together. I will put
Yeah.
that out there for anybody who might throw shade about that. It's going to be with humans, with, consenting adults that are called and healed and divine and are on a spiritual path. And then there's going to be a subset of them that God is going to make public, like public displays of like their of this love, this different way of being in a relationship. Interesting. Okay. Anyways, so we got a little bit off the rails. Thanks a lot. But apparently they wanted me to say that about divine coupling. All right. So we're erasing.
It's 4:44. Oh, sorry.
Okay. There you go. We're erasing.
I just think you're done with that.
Perfect. Thanks. Send it. Send it. It's always some number. Okay, so they erased Asherah. How was she erased? Patriarchal monotheism took hold, especially during the reign of like King Josiah. So this was around like 600 BCE. Formers began purging the divine feminine from religious life. So they destroyed Asherah's sacred, she used to be identified with like sacred like poles and altars. They rewrote the text. They reframed God as exclusively male. And in the process, Yahweh was transformed from this balanced dual energy deity into a singular masculine authority figure, which then conveniently mirrored the emerging patriarchal power structures of politics and priesthood. By the way, that stuff still happens today. Those two go hand in hand. I'm just saying, it just does. It
Uh-huh.
has through centuries. That has not changed. So erasing Asherah wasn't just theology, it was strategy. If you erase the feminine from God, you erase her from leadership, from society, and from herself. And that's what we see, right? We've seen that for years and years. So this
Yep.
rewriting set the foundation for a spiritual hierarchy that justified male dominance and female subservience. And it's the same hierarchy that echoes today in how religion and government try to control women's bodies, their voices, and their choices. Right? That's been happening forever. The rise that's coming of this divine feminine, like the rise of that female spirituality that's happening is less about, and they want me to emphasize this, it's less about rebellion and more about restoration. It's calling back what the patriarchal systems buried and creating balance. The divine does not have the purpose of elevating now the feminine above the masculine. That's never been the case. It's about restoring her to her rightful position alongside of the masculine. It's not about one over the other. That's why there's been this imbalance. These groups that listen, and I've probably been guilty of this before too, is like you get so freaking angry about all of this stuff as a woman where you're like, this is some bullshit. We're tired of this. If you're making laws about my body and how I can control my body, that is some bullshit right there, okay? It's not about getting revenge and having this like whole like rebellion and revolution, because there are groups out there right now that are seeking that. And they're
100%.
telling me, and I get it. I get it. I feel the same way. I feel so mistreated and used as a woman and lied to and everything else, right? I get it. I get it. But they're saying very specifically that this is about restoration. There will be like this the era of divine feminine, like that movement is not about rebellion and about going like kicking ass and taking names, like even though that's what you want to do, it's about restoration through love. And that's what's going to return the feminine to where she belongs. It's really important. We can say this is some bullshit and we're pissed about this and whatever. You can have a righteous anger about this stuff. They're not saying that. They're saying that the actual restoration of this will be done through love and not through rebellion. And so it'll be interesting. I don't know what that translates to, but they're making that very clear. Okay, then let's talk about my girl, Mary Magdalene, for a minute. So as you know, like I mentioned this a couple of episodes ago, like I was talking about like how I've been called to understand Mary Magdalene and how, man, like again, like it's going to make me nuts. This woman was incredible. Okay. She was the silenced apostle. There were not 12 apostles. There were 13, but they don't tell you that there were 13. And you know, what's interesting is like, I kept getting the number 13 for a while and I didn't understand why I was getting the number 13 until I started to read about her. And I was like, oh, okay, now I understand. And like all my life, my favorite color has been red. Like, I don't know, like it's just always been red, always been red. I've always loved roses, right? I read about Mary Magdalene, roses, red, 13. I'm like, okay, right off the bat, like these are, and they're like, we're aligning you. And I was like, okay, I don't know that I've ever been called a whore, but you know, maybe somebody did at some point when I was trying to free them from the trap, when I was trying to help a wounded soul. And they're like, oh, so. All right. Mary Magdalene, boy, she's got a bad rap. Okay. She was called so many names. Like they said that she had like 7 demons. No, she did not. She was not demon possessed. It was actually in reference to the 7 shadows that we all carry, that she actually ascended through and transmuted to actually reach enlightenment in her higher self, like Jesus. Crazy, right? But they called her demon possessed. They called her a whore. They called her a follower. But you know what she really was?
Jealous.
She was a teacher. She was a healer. She was a mystic. And Jesus, he trusted her more than anybody of that crew. Okay. And so in the early Christian texts, especially the Gnostic Gospels, which by the way, like there's a whole Gospel of Mary for people who may not know. There's a Gospel of Mary. There's a Gospel of Philip. There's a Gospel of Thomas. There's a Gospel of Enoch. No. We didn't include those. No. Those were made, they were burned, they were buried, they were whatever. You know why? Because those talked about all the things we started to talk about. They're talking about spirituality. They're talking about how you achieve, you go into the kingdom within and you start to understand that God is within you and how to rise and how to empower all these gifts. They didn't want you to know any of that, so they buried it, they burned it. And so the Gospel of Mary was actually really profound. The Gospel of Mary is depicted as Jesus's closest disciple. She was the one who understood his teachings at a soul level. Jesus calls her the woman who knows all things. There's a direct recognition of her divine wisdom, and she was the first to witness him after the resurrection. He didn't appear to the other 12 men. He appeared to her, which makes her in spiritual terms like the apostle of the apostles. Like she was she was the big dog, right? And they didn't love that. They're like, what? She wasn't fallen. She was chosen. She wasn't a poor, like, this is all crazy. Centuries later, Christianity institutionalized under the Roman Empire, and the church leaders needed hierarchy and control, right? Sound familiar? Same as it is today. And so it was a male only priesthood that couldn't exist with stories of women who carried sacred authority and revelation. What were they going to do with her? So they had to rewrite her. So in 591 AD, Pope Gregory the Great publicly declared that Mary Magdalene was the unnamed sinful woman who anointed Jesus's feet, and they created her persona by merging 3 different women into one and branding her as a repentant prostitute. And that label has stuck for over 400 years. And meanwhile, her real story is one that taught direct connection to the divine, the kingdom within, through inner knowing rather than obedience to church authority, and it was banned, burned, and labeled as heresy. They feared her because she didn't need a priest to reach God. She understood what Jesus was teaching all along. He was saying, like, hey, listen, you think that Jesus went into the churches either? Like, he didn't do that. He was out in the mountains, in the fields, in the streets, right, with all the sinners,
girl,
teaching them this, right? And so he was trying to show you something. And so she got it. Of all of the people that were his apostles, she got it. And she rolled as his like divine counterpart on earth. She was
because
the
what,
divine
she wasn't
feminine.
emotionally unavailable. I don't know.
Apparently, I don't know. So she has this compassion, this emotional intelligence, this sacred sensuality is what she embodied. And they called her a prostitute. She represents the path of healing and the split between the sacred and the sensual. The same split that the patriarchy created when it told women they couldn't be both holy and embodied. Mary Magdalene, if I was her, I'd be crashing out because, like, she spent, after Jesus' resurrection, this woman spent the rest of her life teaching and healing and helping people. They just trashed her. They threw away everything about her and they called her a whore, and that was it. Like, whatever, this low life, and it's like, oh my gosh. So they erased her from leadership because removing that feminine from the spiritual authority, that created this blueprint of the patriarchy's spiritual control. So if you erase the mother, you silence the teacher, and you keep the divine masculine unchallenged, hey, we're good now. Get rid of that girl. She's screwing up stuff for us. We got to throw shade at her name. And she wasn't. Like, how sad,
Mr. B's even angry about it.
Man, Mr. B
He's
is
growling.
furious.
He's growling.
But here's the thing. I'm like studying Mary Magdalene now, and I can only do a little bit, and then I'm like, okay, I can feel my blood pressure rising, and I'm like, I can't. Like, I get you, girl. Like, listen, you're being misunderstood too. Like me being at the bear trap or whatever. Like, I mean, she was just misunderstood, and she's doing everything right. She's out there doing God's work for people, and they're like, yeah, she's a whore and she sucks. So we're going to burn all of her shit. Exactly. But I think what's happening now is, as part of this divine feminine movement, is that I'm telling you, I see her name coming up everywhere now. And I think that there's a rewriting of history. There's a remembering. There is an uncovering of who she actually was. And I think that's really amazing. And I'm going to know everything that I can about her, because I won't stop speaking about what I think is deplorable. It's like deplorable what they did to her. And so there's a reason that I'm being asked to understand that, because I don't give a shit. I'll talk about it. I don't care, because that's the truth. And like, I know it's the truth because I can feel it. And like, they show me. All right. And then I want to touch on one more woman, because I think this is nuts too. All right. You know the story of creation, the Adam and Eve creation story.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what do we know about that? They're in the Garden of Eden. God creates Adam. God takes the time to create Adam and form him from the earth, loves him, creates him in his own image, makes him out of the earth. Okay. Beautiful, right? Because that's amazing. Like, God created him after themselves, right? Like, it's like a source creator. I get that. Perfect. Ever since I was a little kid, I never understood this other bullshit that we're taught. All right. Then he's like lonely, right? Apparently he's just roaming in paradise, and he's like, oh, I'm lonely and I have dominion over all the animals, and I'm naming stuff, and I'm like doing my thing, like living in paradise. but apparently he's lonely. Okay, cool. Also, too, God would already know that. Okay, Yahweh and Asherah. Okay, but they erased her, so you couldn't talk about that. If they had a divine relationship, masculine and feminine in the heavens, then why wouldn't you create that on the earth as well after? I always thought that was weird. It was like, oh, he had to be like, oh, I'm lonely. Can you give me somebody down here? I don't think that happened, actually. I think they were created at the same time. This is the thing that always got me. It was like, we were supposed to believe that he got lonely. God was like, okay, listen, I'll give you a partner. Okay. I'm going to create woman. I'm going to put you into a deep sleep, and then I'm going to take your rib and I'm going to make her from your rib. That is the biggest bunch of bullshit I have ever heard in my life. Okay.
Okay. First of all, it wasn't.
I'm going to say all the things about that.
It's translation. This is, so you're listening to translation of original Hebrew that it was written in.
Right.
And then the hierarchy of all of that crap.
I'm just telling
you. It meant his other half. He was taken.
His side, alongside. It's not, but okay, I'm just telling you that most of the people, and most people that may be listening to us talk about this, you grew up in a religious system that taught you that she was made from his rib. Okay. Did you learn that? You guys I know we learned that. Tali, did you learn that as a Catholic? Okay.
Yep.
That's what we all knew too, right? And I always, since I was a little kid, I was like, no, this is some bullshit. You know why? Because that would mean that then woman is subservient to, her creation came from that guy's rib. Like, what? And like you as the source were like, hey, listen, I'm busy. I'm just going to pull a rib from this dude and make this chick. What? No, God wouldn't do that. The divine would not do that. They would create her in their image as well, alongside as an equal, not as a piece of.
Also, we're the ones who have the womb of creation.
Exactly.
So you're going to tell us that we were ripped out from a rib, just we're a piece of him, but yet we're the ones who can actually
have to give birth out of our vaginas.
Well, there's that part.
Yes.
There's that. I mean,
while
or,
you're pushing,
or out of your
get
stomach,
hemorrhoids. This is all I hear. I've never had a child. This is just what I
Let me
hear
just tell you,
about it.
That birthing experience is an experience for anybody who's gone through it.
So good.
Okay.
So good.
Okay.
Get ripped from one hole to the other. It would be good. Don't worry about it. But we were pulled from a rib. Don't worry.
No. Okay. So listen, I love science. Okay. And the other thing is like, I love crime documentaries. I know you're like this, G. Tali, do you watch crime? I freaking love those things. There must be something wrong
when I'm
with
putting
me.
my makeup on in the morning, I watch that shit.
Oh my God. I watch so many, like a new,
so fun.
Crime documentary drops. I'm like, oh yes, like popping popcorn. And I'm watching because I'm like so interested by like the way people think. That's a whole other thing. But anyways, so I've always loved crime documentaries. And I remember I was watching one once, and let's say they find a skeleton, somewhere. Okay. They find the whole skeleton and they're trying to identify the body because this happens a lot. And then they have to have like the forensic folks come in and they do all of their sampling, and then they have to send it off to the lab for DNA testing and dental records to identify the person. And I remember I was watching one once and I was like, well, wait a minute. And they said specifically on the one that I was watching, they're like, oh, they can't tell if it's a man or a woman. And I was like, they found a whole skeleton and they can't find it. They can't figure out if it's a man or a woman. Well, why is that? It's because we all have the same amount of ribs, because like if dudes had one less rib because we were made from their rib, like, that's why this is all such bullshit. It's such bullshit. It's not like they're walking around with like one less rib than us and they're like, hey, Bob, we found this skeleton. Oh, it looks like it's a dude. They're missing a rib. No, they have to send that shit for DNA testing because we all are the same. And so I'm just like, but like this horse shit was fed to us when we were young. And that starts to develop a narrative though. That's like, you're a woman, you're lesser. You are subservient. You are a piece of that man. Like you get your value, your worth, your creation, your everything from him, not from the source. Okay. No, I'm listening.
You already
I don't
know
care
where my
who's
stance
following
is on
us.
that.
I don't care if you're listening to us and you're with us right now. I'm telling you right now, from the depths of my soul, what a lie that is. I don't know how that was made up. I don't care. I don't care how it was translated. I'm telling you, that is not correct. She was made from the source alongside of this man. This is not about that is not about that. And then what happened? Then they vilified her too because she was curious, she was questioning, she was probably awakening in the garden. And then we're supposed to expect, like, okay, her fall story became the blueprint for silencing women's voices again because she screwed up the whole earth because apparently she was tempted by a talking snake to go eat from a tree. Why would why would God put a tree of knowledge in paradise and be like, okay, you can do anything, but just don't go over
You
there and
can
eat
do
from that
whatever
tree?
you want, but
Y- y-
don't.
Don't eat the apple, okay? And it's always an
Right?
apple. It's always a freaking apple.
Oh,
Honest to
no.
God, like, I don't know. But what happened, she became the blueprint for silencing women's voices. Don't question, don't lead, and don't seek any answers. Because if you do, you're going to end up like Eve, who destroyed paradise. Okay, how does this relate to like us today? So the erasure of women and the divine feminine still lives here from these sacred stories. Systemic control, the same patriarchal spirit, because remember, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred and transmuted. And that same energetic spirit that has existed from erasing these women, silencing them, tarnishing them, it didn't die. It's just evolved into our modern day. And that's why there's this unbalance in our society. It's moved from scriptures to systems, from scrolls to laws, from temples to institutions, right? It's just transferred. That's all.
Yeah.
And that still decides what a woman can do with her body, with her voice, her leadership, and her autonomy. They're not out there burning witches anymore, but they're still passing laws to keep us small and silent. It's the same thing, you know? And you can see that this spirit in this energy in our reproductive restrictions, these men in power legislate like the womb. Like they say, like the same vessel that once was revered as divine is now like, no, we got to shut that down. No, they can't have reproductive rights. Like, no. And I I just it's disgusting. Like I personally know, you guys probably do too. I personally know women that, I mean, thankfully we live in a state that still supports women's reproductive rights. Thank God for that. Because I'm going to tell you, I have personally known women that had it not been for those reproductive rights, their lives were in danger. In some states, those women they're turned away because they can't treat them. They can't help them. You're putting women in danger. Who decides that? That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And the narrative is, oh, well, they're killing children. No, that is not what is happening. This is disgusting.